everyone, and welcome back to another video. And for this week's video, I thought I would just keep it pretty simple and bring you all along with me as I work on my Spilled Coffee Studio journal. So let's get to it. Alright, so here's everything that I had printed out and just had in general to add into this journal. However, I did not end up doing pages for everything in this video. Now, the first page that I decided to do was just a little collection of some of my favorite prints that I've made. So I took this pretty striped white and yellow paper and I used a pen to kind of mark how large or how much I would need to cut off of the sheet of paper so that would fit in and be like the right size for my little journal. So I went about and I used my pinking shears for that just because I like the effect that they give before going in with this big glue stick, which I could not open for some reason. You also see later on this video, I actually end up running out of glue in this glue stick and I had to open up a brand new one. I'm kind of surprised that I've finished this entire glue stick because I did not get it that long ago. I guess I've just been making a lot of different things. But which, that's a good thing though, being productive. But after gluing down the paper, I went ahead and I glued down all of the prints after I figured out which the setup that I wanted them to be in. I then found like this kind of blue, almost like, it reminds me of like the sky kind of paper, and I just cut out like a little wavy strip of it so I could write down just like some of my fave prints that I've made, and I use this pretty like hot pink pen, which I really like. And then after I finished writing everything down for that, I did end up just gluing it down at the very top of the page, which you can see right now. You could also see me wiping away some glue as I accidentally got it on the page, but that's okay. Then to add some extra pizzazz to the page, I added some of these cute deco stickers, which if you're curious about where I get mine off of Etsy, though I've also gotten off of Amazon for like 10 bucks, like a big pack of like 100 of like those little sheets. So if you want like a pretty affordable way to get a lot of fun stickers, I highly recommend that. Next is the horror sickles, as I like to call them. Now, the very first time I ever made the horror sickles, I cannot speak. But the first time I ever made them, I did keychain versions of them, and I only did Jason Voorhees and Ghostface, and I included a picture of them. I then ended up doing, last year, for around like Halloween and stuff, I ended up doing a couple more as felt pins, which you can see right now I'm gluing everything down for them. And also for the paper that I used as the background that I had ripped was the same paper that I used to do the blood splatters on the horror movie plushie page, which that paper got a lot of use in this video actually. I'm kind of surprised about that. I just thought it was kind of funny. I then added some stickers on the page just to make everything nice and, just extra, if you will. I used those black ones, and then I used these ones because I wanted something a little bit different. I then got out a Crayola marker, which these are great for journaling. They don't really bleed. You can get a wide variety of colors, pretty cheap. And I just wrote down horror circles at the top in that pretty red. After I did that, I just used a gray gel pen and I went about writing everything out, just talking about them and which characters I made and stuff like that. I highly recommend getting like gel pens. I think they're really fun to use for journaling, and they're some of my favorite things to use. Now for these, as I just showed, the thing on the left side was from one of the Christmas craft shows that I did last year. So I thought that I would, of course, have to add the Christmas plushies on the right side, so that way it kind of still went along with the theme. I did the same thing like I did in the very first page of measuring, or just kind of like marking out how much I would need to cut off. I then laid out all of my pictures. These particular plushies are based off of characters from Christmas movies, and technically, I know, Mean Girls, it's not a Christmas movie. However, like the winter or like Christmas like talent show scene, absolutely iconic, and I had to turn that into a plushie. So I did. I then had like quite a bit of like this extra space kind of awkwardly there. So I did make like a little tag by just cutting it down some red and white paper and gluing them together before gluing it in that blank spot. And then I just used that to kind of write iconic Christmas plushies or something like that. And I just, that little spot bothered me and I just needed something there. So that's why I made that little tag. But as you can see, I made Clark Griswold, Ralphie from A Christmas Story, again, Mean Girls themed one, and then I did Elf, or I can't think of his name because I'm not the biggest fan of that movie. So I cannot, oh, Buddy, his name's Buddy, just remember that. But yeah, not the biggest fan of that movie, but it's still pretty iconic and Christmassy, so I had to include it when I made the Christmas plushies. Next up were these foodie stingrays, and I used some orange stickers to write everything out, or not really write, but you get what I mean, just because I thought it would make it look a little bit neater and nicer. I then glued down all of the pictures before adding the stickers, you know, same thing, rinse and repeat, same thing over and over again. But like just everything, it's like the same process, but like the color schemes and themes of course are different. I went with like an orangey theme for these foodie stingrays. I then wrote down which each food these stingrays were based off of before writing a little blurb about them. I also forgot a stingray. It was a corn dog themed stingray. I didn't have a picture of him, but you know, he's still in my heart. And here is the finished page. Next up was a little page dedicated to my emotional support frogs, which are probably one of my favorite things that I have ever made. They're just a little frog plushie holding a heart, and they come with a little bag with a little card that says like, life may be rough, but don't forget, you know, you got this. I just thought they were really cute and sweet. I've seen a lot of different like variations of people's own versions of like an emotional support plushie or anything like that, and I wanted to do my own. So I did a frog themed one, of course, because like the frog is like my little mascot, and it was also just a lot easier to and like more simple, because I didn't want it to be like too much for these emotional support like plushies, so I went for the frog holding the heart, and I think he came out super cute. I gave him big eyes with pretty shinies in it, and I love it. But anyways, there was this awkward blank space at the top of the page, so I had like this like washi tape that you can cut out, so I cut out a strip of that just to kind of cover that up and make it look less awkward, and then ended up like adding some stickers on top of it just to give it again some extra pizzazz. I also added like quite a bit of stickers on this page just to kind of fill it in, because I didn't know if I'd be able to write enough about it, but I got a decent amount written. And then finally, the last spread I did in this journal was my 2023 Pride collection. So there was all the plushies, and then I had small versions of each flag that the plushies were based off of. I added some rainbow washi tape at the bottom for using some letter stickers to put Pride collection across the top of it. I then wrote out 2023 just with a good old gel pen. I then, again, laid out all of the little pictures that I had taken of all my different plushies. It kind of bothers me that there's like 5 on one page and then like 4 on the other, but like it's not that big of a deal, but you know, there's no symmetry there. I then went in and added all of the little flags. I did this off camera, but I added a bunch of different stickers, and I also wrote off their names because I had to check and see that, but you know, just to make sure I had the right names, like I had to reference, you know, my own Ko-Fi page just to make sure I got them right. But here's a quick flip through of all the pages that I have finished so far in this journal, and that is the end of this video. Alright, so thank you all so much for coming along with me as I worked on my Spilled Coffee Studio journal. I just really wanted to thank you all, and I really hope that you all enjoyed this video. I also just wanted to mention, yes, my outfit changed. I am filming this outro a day later. But like I said, thank you all so much for coming along with me as I worked on this journal. Like I said, I really hope you all enjoyed this video. I also hope that you all have an absolutely amazing day, and I'll see you next week. Bye!